Hello.
Hi, Namika. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can hear.
Okay.
I can hear
Okay.
you.
All right. So let me give the heads up to everyone, like what exactly we are
Okay.
trying to achieve here. Hi,
Yeah, yeah.
everyone. Can you hear me? I guess everyone can hear me.
Yes.
All right.
I can hear you.
All right. So thank you so much for joining, guys. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Ankush Chaudhary, and I have a YouTube channel where I have 9,000 plus subscribers are there on my YouTube channel. And we started giving the trainings on Oracle DBA technology first of all, and gradually we have started giving the trainings on multiple technologies. So in Oracle DBA also we have Oracle Core DBA, then RAG databases, Golden Gate, and nowadays we always discuss about the booming technology. So I can tell you one thing, that nowadays any technology which is related to the data is the future of the Indian IT industry. Okay, so in that we have multiple technologies are there. So obviously in this lecture, in this session, we are going to discuss about technology. We called it as a Hadoop development. Okay, so let me tell you exactly what exactly we are trying to achieve here. Okay, so I see a lot of requests from the people. They want to start their career with the Hadoop development profile, and obviously they need a platform through which they can start working on this technology. So what are the prerequisites to learn this technology? Anyone who is having the basic knowledge about the SQL, Linux, or any programming language, that will be helping you to start with the big data technology. Okay, so Hadoop is something which is really booming in the market, and I can see a lot of people are getting very good opportunity with this data engineering platform. Some people are also calling it as a data engineer platform. So along with me, Anamika is there. She will be the instructor of this of this training program. Okay, and she will guide you along with the trainings, and I'm also there to help you out. Okay, so Anamika, I'm just making you host. You can share your screen if you want. Okay, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Anamika,
sure.
for joining. Thank you.
Sure, Ankush. Thanks for this. I'm doing that. Okay, so hello everyone. This is Anamika, and I am having around 12 years of IT experience, and out of that, I am working in big data for around 8 years, and I am having good experience in big data engineering and engineering field. I have worked with several projects, and in that I have lead multiple projects. So accordingly, we have planned for this training session, and we have designed this. So in this demo session, we will be discussing about the modules and the flow, how we are going to cover all this training, and we can have some open question which also we can discuss here. So let me share my screen. So first we will talk about big data Hadoop. So in big data, very first it comes with Hadoop, because this is the oldest thing which comes when big data came into the market, and we started with Hadoop stacks, and multiple integrated systems were there with it. But by day, time by time, it has been enhanced, and multiple tools and technologies has been added with it. So if we are trying to move in this field, then obviously we should know, if not all, then multiple, how much possibly we can grab it, how we can match, how much we can achieve. We have to take up that. So we will be discussing about that. And this is the Hadoop and how Hadoop works, why we are using the Hadoop. So majorly we are using the Hadoop because of the data. We are having lots of data is growing day by day. Like suppose how much data we had in last 50 years or 100 years. If we see how much we are using the social media, how frequently we are using that, and what about the data we have, it's a structured data. Because earlier, if we compare our today's data with previous data sets, what was earlier we have, so we can see that earlier it was mostly structured data. Nowadays we are using social media and all. So in this case, we are having multiple images, videos, files, semi-structured, unstructured, multiple kinds of variety of data we have. So we have to process that data, and we have to make sure that how soon we can process the data, then only we can satisfy our customer, we can make our organization beneficial, and that is not possible at all with our existing system. That's why we need one distributed system where we can process the data in distributed mode. Let's say we have terabytes of data and we are using our existing system. In this case, what will happen? Suppose I am having terabyte of data, and I'm going to use any of the RDBMS system, and I'm processing that. Then Obviously it will take lots of time. It can be hours or it can be days. But same data, if I am trying to process through Hadoop, like big data, then what tools I am using, that will matters. But if any tool I am using, most probably we will be able to process the data within hours, if that is terabyte also. So that is possible here. Even we can do in very few hours also, if we have good cluster availability, that we can do. And accordingly we can make our organization more with the revenue growth and their business and customer satisfaction and everything, which is mostly required for the any of the organization. That is the reason every organization is looking for the big data engineering. It can be either tester, developer, or admin side, or various skills are there, various opportunities are there. And we can see that most of the positions are still open, and they're looking for the best resources who can serve them a better service. So we can utilize this platform, we can learn, and we can go into that field if we are interested. So if we are talking about this job market, how is the job market? So we can see that we have the opening. This is, we can see this fields are filled and this is unfilled. Obviously it is not the accurate stats, it can be different, but we can take it as a reference. Like data science, we can say that almost 90% of the positions are still yet to be filled, means they are looking for the good resource. Big data visualizer, analyst, engineer, architect, analyst, data engineer, tester, multiple positions are there, and all the positions are open. So so if we are comparing with another open positions, another skill sets, VS Big Data, Hadoop, Spark, or something, then obviously this is, I can say, at least 60% it is more than each and every skill set. You have more chances to get the job in this field with good increment, which is not possible with other skill set. And if we are talking about big data tools, we have multiple big data tools. It's a vast. We can't say that this is the limit and this is only the thing which we have to learn, or this is the only which we use. But this is just a sample. This is HDFS. HDFS is nothing but a storage system where we store the data if we want to process using big data, Hadoop, Spark, or something, because somewhere we have to store the data, and after storing only we can process. So this HDFS part we use for storing. This is Hive. Hive is nothing but it's a kind of warehouse which where we can maintain the metadata externally, or it can be with internal table as well, and data will be seated to HDFS location, and we can query the data, and it supports SQL kind of query which called HQL, Hive query language. And it's a pretty simple. If you are non-programmer, you don't have any background with Java, Scala, Python, still you can learn Hive in few days, and you can survive better with it. Same is with Pig also. That is also, this also doesn't need any programming background. You can go with Pig has its own language, and that is also pretty simple. This is also like SQL only. If we are talking about HBase, that is NoSQL database integrated with Hadoop, and this is also used for better analytical purpose, or maybe if we have to some kind of modification in data and all, because as of now Hadoop doesn't allow directly modification of the data. We have to replace the data. So somehow something we can do using HBase along with other purposes. So we use this. And we have Scoop. Scoop is a older technology integrated with Hadoop, which we use for importing and exporting the data from the RDBMS to our Hadoop. But why we use it and why it is so much popular? Because all of the organization is having recent data, their current running data, we can say live data, as well as every organization is having their older data, history data set. In that case, for the current data set, they can go with any other application, because multiple applications has been launched in the market. But if we have historical data and if we want to pull that data to our Hadoop system, then this can be a better option. Using this, we can pull output the data based upon the either we want the whole table in importing, or we want a few columns only, or we need bulk load, or we need table by table. So all the facilities are available here, and it's also pretty simple. We have few commands we can learn out, and we can do some practices, and we can say that, yeah, I know scope. You will have the confidence for this. This is the UG. So UG is nothing but kind of a job scheduler where we can schedule the job that, like, suppose if you're doing any kind of development, then of course you have to deploy your job to your production UAT or any other environment. Then how your job will be running? It should need one scheduler. So we have multiple scheduler which we use in real time. It can be like, just suppose for example it is UG, it can be autosys, it can be control M, it can be cron tab, multiple things are there. But here I have mentioned UG. We will go with the overview while we will be going for the training. And this is Spark is nothing but computing way where when we compute the data, like I said that we have HDFS. So HDFS we use for storing the data. And while we were using our older Hadoop system, there we had MapReduce, which was using to process the data. But day by day, we are growing with the data. So we need a faster computing system. Using that, we can process the terabytes and petabytes of data within minutes and seconds, if possible. We do not need to waste more and more time. So if we compare our MapReduce to Spark is too much faster than MapReduce. So nowadays, this is very trending in the market, and this is must required. So we need to go with this. So these are some tools I discussed, which we are going to use in our big data projects. And please just stop me if you have any question or if you want to ask something. Then we can see that.
I had one
Yes.
question.
Yes.
So which field is good, like Hadoop development or Hadoop admin?
So all is having their own way and own benefits. So we have in any of the big data project, we have opening for admin side and the development side and testing side both. But as per my experience, better to go, your first choice should be development, your second choice should be testing, and your third choice should be administrative if you are looking for the more and more opportunity. This is as per my experience, but it can be differ person to person.
Let me try to give a heads up because I work with the development as well as admin part.
Yeah, sure,
See,
sure.
see, actually, that is all depend upon the technology that you have experience. Okay. So
Right,
let me
right,
tell you one example. Like nowadays, we are giving a training on Oracle DBA. DBA is also a database administrator. Hadoop administrators are there. Okay.
right.
So let's assume that you don't know anything about the programming language. Okay. You are completely new. So I
Right.
don't prefer
Yeah,
you to go to the development. Okay. Because
yeah,
development is
DBA.
the platform is something that you
Deep,
are not going to learn within a single day. Okay.
yeah,
If you have
yeah. So
some basic knowledge about the programming, let's say any programming, I'm not saying that you should specific to the Java or Python or Scala, anything. If you have some touch to the programming language, then I should prefer you to go to the development track because development have the lot of opportunities. Your job will run from 9 to 6 or most probably 12 to 9. You will
Right,
not
right.
work in
This
the
is the
shift.
main benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the main benefit. So especially for the female candidate or like when we are in the family, obviously we need some stable job where we will have a Saturday Sunday off. Diwali vacation will be there. All this opportunity you will get it into the
Actually,
development track.
admin job it includes some support kind of task. So
Right.
obviously it doesn't need any programming thing. So if you do not want to keep more efforts in the learning, you can go for that. But it needs some support kind of task, and you maybe your job will be on shift wise, or it can be on weekend and all, or maybe working hours can be different.
Right. Absolutely right. Yes. I hope we have given your
Yeah. So I believe for a pure Oracle DBA, if uh, he has some knowledge in some language, then development is good.
right. See, let me tell you my story only. Okay. I am working till now. I was working as a Oracle DBA. Okay. Even we have a training on Oracle
Okay.
DBA also. But now I have switched my career from Oracle DBA to the Hadoop development. Okay. I did that because I am little good with the programming. Okay. So that is why I think like big data again. I'm telling you honestly, like the market for the big data technology is really, really good. Really good. Okay. You ask how much you want, they're ready to pay. Only the thing is you should have that skill set. So this training program is really going to help. to the people, those who want to start their career with the big data technology. Yes, Anamika, I think we can go ahead.
It needs some
Hello,
effort. It
hello,
needs
sir.
some effort. Even as per my experience or what I am looking for, if you are a non-programmer, then nothing is impossible. You can do this. Only the thing is, you have to come up with some efforts. You have to give your some time, and of course, you can learn that. You can do that.
Hello, hello. Am I
So-
audible?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Ankush, do you help in changing the resume also, or
Yes, we will do that. Yeah, we can do that. See, we have a very good experience. Okay, Anamika is there, I am there. Okay, we all are there to help you out. How to switch the career. Okay, because personally, I have already gone through that mode. Okay.
Yeah, so I will be supporting in the resume writing and suggestions what project you can put and how you can highlight that. So you will be getting more and more calls, and after that we'll be supporting for some demo interviews as well. So you will be getting the good idea what kind of questions you may face and what can be the right way to answer that. And I'm sure that if I am giving you 100 of the question, at least 80% questions should be crossed in your interviews.
okay?
Okay, so we can go ahead.
Hello, Anamika.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, in the previous slide, you have shown some technology stack related to big data. So, do we need to have any cloud knowledge for this? Any of the cloud, like
Not mandatory, because all of the organizations are working in their different way. So I will say that out of 100%, still 60 to 70% organizations are still on premise, and some has already moved to cloud, and some are planning to move the cloud. So obviously, in the next future, I will say in next 2 years, a ratio will be 50-50, and maybe in next 4 years or 5 years, maybe a ratio will be 30-70, because slowly all the organizations are trying to move on to cloud. So yes, cloud knowledge is not much necessary for the starting, but better if we know that.
Okay, Anamika. And I have 2.5 years of experience in ETL tool, basically.
Okay.
So, is it considered as a valid experience for this big data, or what?
Yeah, this is a good question. So see, what your background is, this doesn't matter, because when you are applying for the big data, of course you have to say that you have experience. Otherwise, no one is going to schedule your first round of interview also. If you are saying that I have 3 years or 5 years of experience, but I am zero in big data, you have to say that I have some confidence and I have did at least 1, 2, 3 projects in big data, and this is my experience and what kind of projects I have did. You have to show that, and you should have that much confidence to answer them. So then only you will be able to move ahead. And if you're trying to say about your skill set, then when you will be clearing your interviews, when you will clear all the steps, then no one is going to verify what was your past skill set actually. They are going to verify your employer. With this employer, what was your duration and what was your designation. After that, as per my experience, salary is the confidential thing, and most of the company never share their salary structure in the background verification. Even their tools and technologies and in which position and what was the skill set you were using, that is not shareable. So only they will check your designation and your working period. That's all.
Yes, thank you, Anamika, for clearing, because I'm a fresher. So yeah, that's why. Thank you.
Let me add you one more point. Okay, see, if you ask me which is the very closest technology to the Hadoop development, then I will say ETL. Okay.
Right.
Many people are there, many or thousands of people are there. They're trying to move their career from ETL to the Hadoop development, because this is something. See, ETL means basically your Hive and all those things. Okay, same concept we are going to use in our Hadoop development profile. So your ETL knowledge is really going to help you with the big data. That is really
Yes,
close to the
ETL, any
technology.
of the database background, that's really very helpful.
Many times people are asking us the question, what is the difference between ETL and ELT? Still we have a questions on ETL nowadays. Even I did not work on ETL any time, but people are asking the question about your that star flag and all those things. Okay, they'll ask that. That ETL is really important.
Yes,
I
yes. Thank you. I have worked on migration projects as well, data migration project from Siebel to Salesforce or something like that.
hmm.
So whether it will help me or do I need to change these things or project things in my resume?
No. See, you can mention it that. See, big data is not a very old technology. First of all, big data started in 2014 only, right? It's not a very big, it's not very old technology like Oracle or Java, something like that. People are pretty much aware that nowadays new people are trying to come to the big data market. Okay. Even we are the one who are taking the interview. For my organization, I am taking the interview. Okay. So we are already aware, like maybe the person who is giving the interview, he don't have much knowledge, but I can see that at least he's trying. Okay. I can see that he's trying. But what you can do while you are preparing the resume, you can mention your previous experience as a big data developer, as well as you can also show your ETL experience, both the things. And then you can try to jump to the company. As Anamika said, your company, new company is not going to check what was your what was your role, whether you were working on ETL or maybe a Hadoop developer or whatever you were doing. They were not going to check. They are just checking the time of duration you stayed in your previous company, and that's it, not more than that. Okay, so don't worry about that thing.
Yes, yes. Got it. Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
So Ankush, even if we don't put in recent company, we can put in the previous companies, right? This experience.
Yeah, you can put that. Okay. See, usually what we do, okay, I'm just telling you the scenario.
Because I have 10 to 15 years of experience in this one, Oracle DB only.
Okay.
And
So
I haven't done any.
No, what I'm saying that your current company, okay, current company, you show your experience as a Oracle, you show your experience as a Hadoop developer, okay, so that they will come to know that recently you work on the Hadoop development profile, okay, recently. Previous your experience can be Oracle DB, that's not a problem, okay. So there are two type of experience. One is a
it is never
yes, Anamika, please go ahead.
recommended to remove your existing always mentioned in the resume, but add some projects with the big data. That's it. Do
Right.
make some additional.
Right.
So you will get attention for your other skill set as well.
Right. I think we can go ahead, Anamika, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we were discussing the field why we are learning this and what we can achieve. So here I have mentioned like we can go for development, we can go for Apache Spark, Storm, Kafka, and multiple a lot of other things are there. We can go as an analyst in the analytics with R, that is a language, advanced predictive data modeling. And again we can go for administration if we are more interested into that, or if we do not want to touch base with any of the programming skill set and all, if we are not able to make some efforts, of course we can choose that. Cloud computing, that's a good thing if we know that, because either today and then we have data science, machine learning, AI, ML, so multiple things are there. We have some NoSQL kind of database, because we have a relational database where we store the data into tabular format, row in column wise. But in NoSQL database, we can store the data in kind of documents, and we can access the data. It's more optimized, and the way how easily we can integrate with any of the big data system, and we can process the data, and we can use it as a source or as a target, and in better way we can use for visualization as well. So that's how we are using some different kind of NoSQL databases as well. So these are the things which we can we can choose what we want actually, and accordingly we can plan our future, where I want to go.
So what is this Hadoop? Okay, why Hadoop came in the picture? See, actually, if you talk about the normal database structure, let's take any example. Okay, we have a multiple databases out there. Okay, if I take the example of we have Oracle database, we have MySQL database. Okay, we have multiple RDBMS databases out there. What is the problem with the RDBMS database? The RDBMS database always store the data in the form of rows and columns, right? So there are two type of data. There are two type of data are there. Okay. If I just want to tell you about the data, there are two type of data are there. One we called it as a structural data. Okay. Another type of data we called it as a non-structural data. Non-structural data. Now, what is structural data? The data which can be stored in the form of rows and column, we called it as structural data, like your table. That is a structural data. What is meant by non-structural data? The data which cannot be stored in the form of rows and column, we called it as a non-structural data, like logs. Logs means, what is logs? So let's say, if you take the example of any sensor, okay, any sensor, or if you talk about the plane, when the plane is traveling from one location to another location, what you can see, there is a system behind that which is tracking the location of your plane, right? And it is generating a huge amount of data within a second or within the second. The sensors are generating huge amount of data that can be stored as a non-structural data. If I want to take up one example about the semi-structural also, we have XML is there, we have JSON is there. But do you think that this XML, JSON or any log type of data can be stored into the Oracle database? That's not possible. So Oracle database or MySQL database, PostgreSQL database, any database are mainly designed to store your structural kind of data. But in the world, in the real-time world, we have a data of different type. Like we can have a structural data, unstructured data, semi-structured data. We need one system which will process all this data. We need one single system which will process your structural data, unstructured data, semi-structured data. And that we called it as a Hadoop. So Hadoop is a framework which can process your huge amount of data, and that too in the distributed format. What is meant by distributed? There will be a question in your mind that what is this? What is distributed? Let me take very small example. I have a laptop, okay? I have a computer which is having some 32 GB of RAM, okay? And then I have 1 terabyte of hard disk. What I did, and I have some CPU, let's say I am using i7 CPU right now, i7 10 generation, which is the latest one nowadays with respect to the laptop. So what will happen? There are people, user 1, user 2, a lot of people are there. They are generating huge amount of data. Let's say the data is getting generated from Facebook, Twitter, or maybe from your Insta. Huge amount of data you are loading, and that data is going into one system. Let's assume that. But do you think that this data is a structural data? No. We can have video, we can have audio, we can have text, we can have anything. And that two data are coming from the different sources. Some data is coming from Facebook, some data is coming from Insta, some data is coming from different platforms. Some data can be posted from manual also. If you take the example of election, usually people are trying to, ask you to fill up the form. And from there also, they are going to predict who is going to win, whether BJP is going to win or Congress is going to win with respect to the India or any other party. So that predictions are coming from different sources. Some coming from your Facebook, Insta, or it can come from anywhere. So what this big data system is doing, it is taking the data from here, processing it data with the help of Hadoop, and finally giving the output saying that XYZ party is going to win. Do you know about the poll? We are always doing the polling, right? Before the election result come, there will be a chances that 80% votings are going to this particular party. In this state, this particular party is going to win. All this data is getting analyzed with the help of Hadoop system, because Hadoop doesn't have any type of restriction. Hadoop doesn't have any type of restriction. Now let's assume that this data is coming of 1 terabyte, right? Now continuously data is going increase. Usually in my laptop, when the huge amount of data is getting increased continuously, what I do? Usually I will increase my 1 terabyte disk to 2 terabyte, 2 terabyte disk to 3 terabyte. 32 GB RAM, I will extend to 64 GB RAM. But there will be a certain time, even though if you are increasing your number of resources, still your system will be slow. You might have observed. Even though if you are increasing your number of resources, still your system is very, very slow. In that case, what Hadoop framework is saying, which is provided by the Google only. Google. They have started with the concept, we called it as a distributed file system. In distributed, what will happen? You will have a number of computer. They are connected to each other. We called it as a node 1, node 2, node 3. Every node is basically a server. Every node, in this case, if I want to take a layman example, you can call it as a computer 1, computer 2, computer 3. Every node will have their dedicated RAM, dedicated CPU, dedicated disk. Okay. Every RAM, here also RAM will be there. Now, if I want to store my data of size, let's say 200 GB, that data will be splitted into the multiple part. So some data will be stored over here, some data will be stored here, some data will be stored here. So this data is getting partitioned in different node. We called it as a distributed data. So what is the benefit of it? If I am asking to process this 200 GB of data, that data will be processed from this node also, this node also, and this node also. So what you are doing, you are not putting a whole pressure on a single node. You are distributing your data, and this is called horizontal scaling. Horizontal. Because horizontally, you are adding number of nodes. Horizontally. For to increase this number of node, you can use your commodity, even normal hard disks, you can use that. Even normal hard disks also you can use that. That is why, big data or Hadoop technology. Hadoop is just a framework. What is the difference between big data and Hadoop? Big data is a problem. Big data is a problem. And to solve this problem, we have a Hadoop framework is there. In that, as Anamika said, we have multiple components are there, modules are there. Like to store my data, we are going to use HDFS. HDFS. Then in order to process the data into the memory, we are going to use memory. We are going to use a Spark, which is a famous technology nowadays in Hadoop. Then earlier days, we were using a technology called MapReduce, which was literally slow because it was processing the data on disk level much. So when we will take the actual session there, we are going to discuss about MapReduce and Spark. And then for the scheduling purpose, we can use Uzi. Scheduling means whenever you are writing down any job that needs to be run automatically, right? Automatically. I want to start my backup 9 a.m. in the night. It should start automatically. So usually people are using crontab, which is very famous and free of cost tool. But in big data, we are using Uzi. Nowadays, the advanced part of this Uzi, something we called it as an airflow. This is how your big data works. Now, why big data? Big data is a system which can store any type of data, structural, unstructural, semi-structural. It can process any type of data and huge amount of data it can process. If you talk about the Oracle, MySQL, they have a limitation. They cannot process the data if the data is going beyond some particular limit. Let's say 2 terabyte. After that, your Oracle database, start hanging. Query problems, performance issue, you'll end up with this problem. But in big data, no. You can increase.
So here the main thing is only it is working in a distributed mode, and we are able to use any multiple services are there which can be integrated, and we can use how we need. And we will never face the memory issue, cluster issue, node issue and all, because anytime it can be added, it can be deleted. It's completely upon us how we are going to use this. We can process any kind of data. It can be structured, unstructured, video, images, and all. And for all kind of processing, we have various different tools which we can use. We can process the data either in batch or real-time streaming or in micro batch. So batch in the sense, suppose we need to process some history data, or maybe we want to process yesterday data today in 1 day or 1 hour of interval. Near real-time data in the sense, suppose we want to do analysis on some data after each 5 minutes. Let's say on the Twitter, who is trending. So after each 5 minutes, I am going to display. Okay, this time this was the position of the BJP. After 5 minutes, okay, Congress is on the first. Maybe third time again BJP can be the first. So this will be coming as a near real time, and actual real time is completely within second. As soon as I am getting the users data, users feedback, input and all, as soon as I am having the data, immediately I will publish the output. So that's coming to real time. So that we cover with Spark streaming and all. So that tools we are going to be used, because that's not possible with MapReduce.
Satyadeep here, may I know, like you will be dealing with Hadoop or like Spark also in this particular
Yeah,
module?
so we will be covering the all the stacks which can be means which we are majorly using into big data side. So we'll be covering HDFS, Hive, Pig, MapReduce and all, and along with this, I will be covering Spark as well. I will be providing one real-time project scenario with Spark batch and Spark streaming. So you will having a good idea. I will show one project with Kafka as well, Kafka data pipeline, and one NoSQL use case I will be showing. It can be HBase and MongoDB. So I will try to cover the main things which 80% of the organizations are using. So we'll cover in both Hadoop and Spark. Sorry, this MapReduce and Spark.
Okay, got it.
So the training program are designed in a such way that it will help you to crack the interview. Okay.
Yes,
So everything
that's
is
the
there.
main motto.
Hello, Ankush and Anamika.
Yeah.
I don't have any knowledge on programming. If I learn programming, may I try as a Hadoop developer?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. How long does it take to complete the training?
Training will be completed almost, it will take 2.5 to 3 months.
Okay. Thank you, Anamika.
Okay, and
So will you?
Yeah.
So will you provide some material, or will you suggest some books, or?
I will provide some material what we have for our theory and practical purposes. And if you are looking for the books, then multiple things are there which can be explored. We'll be doing that. But majorly we will go through our material.
Hello, Anamika.
Yeah.
Will you teach programming language? Will you teach programming language to us?
So this is the very short time to learn the programming, but of course I will give the idea. If you suppose for the programming, we can go with any either Java or Scala or Python. So if we are knowing Java, then fine. If you don't know, then learning purpose, no need to go with the advanced Java. Core Java is enough to start your programming into big data application, and Scala and Python. So if you do not know Java completely, then you can think about Scala or PySpark. No need to go with the Java because that's a lengthy language. And if you know, then that's fine. So for 1 or 1.5 week, I will be covering the basics. So if someone wants to get it, I'm sure that they will be they can get it, and they can start their small POC.
Okay. Will you provide recording sessions, Anamika?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then as we discussed about the prerequisites, so there is no such prerequisites. So only the thing is, while we were working on Hadoop, then in few years back, let's say 2 or 3 years, majorly all the companies were using Hive, Pig, Scoop and all. So it was not needed more programming. If you are good with SQL kind of thing, it was fine. But now as companies are moving to Spark, they are using more in Spark side. So they are using language is must required, and we can go for any other language. So the prerequisites is better if you know SQL, if you do not know, no need to worry. We can learn that. We can have a basic things. We can have a session for that. And basic Unix are needed. Unix commands, Unix or Linux commands are needed, which we need for some steps into SDFS as well. And then programming is needed if you're going for application development. So there we can cover up either Python or Scala. And most probably we will be having a separate session for all the languages. Who is interested into which one, they can join that. Suppose if someone is more interested to Scala and someone is choosing Python, so parallelly that will be running and people can join.
Yeah, Anamika, Satyadeep is here.
Yes.
I mean, what language do you prefer, like the best one, like while dealing with Spark?
Yeah. So again, it is not all the languages are very good, and if you are going for the interview, then you will see that some of the companies are preferring Java. Still, they are preferring the Java. I will give the example. Let's say Goldman Sachs is there, Bank of America is there. You are having Walmart, JP Morgan. So these are the companies. Still, they are asking if your preferable language is Java. But this doesn't mean that they will not hire the PySpark and Scala people, but that is their preferable language. But if you do not know Java, then Scala or PySpark will be bit easy to catch up. So that I will recommend for that.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. Anamika, and one more thing, I mean, both for Ankush and Anamika, I mean, I used to see like a lot of videos in YouTube from Ankush YouTube channel, like interview questions on Hadoop, like that.
Right.
I'm having like one concept like which is doubtful for me. It is like
Yes.
number of executor calculation. Like if
Okay.
you help me out, like if you put that video in YouTube, that would be helpful for more people. And that's where
So
like
better this question will coming under performance
yep.
improvement. Okay. So better if when we are going for the Spark session, that time how we are enabling the resources for any other application, and how we should decide that for this kind of data size and for this kind of data, what resources I should provide that will be feasible and that is not going to block other teams and organization, everyone. So that we can discuss, and that time I think that that same video you can utilize.
Yeah, thank you.
You need immediate response for that?
I mean, if you have time, you can share that one. Why? Because I have seen like a number of videos. I'm not getting much more clarity on that. That's the reason I have put out it here.
If you will go do the Google, you will see some calculation methods. This is the calculation methods. But actually, in reality, that doesn't work. When you are coming to your real picture. So how it works? Let's say you are having 500 MB of data, and you are going to process that, and you are trying to create your Spark resources, and you are giving Spark submit hyphen your number of executor 1 and number of core 1 and memory side. Now it will come to executor memory, and suppose you are thinking that 500 MB only is the file size, then why not giving 500 MB only for the executor memory? Now your job is going to be failed if you are giving the same memory. Now you can think why your job got failed, because your file size is 500 MB and you are also giving 500 MB, right? Because when Spark is executing, it is starting the execution, that time it is keeping some reserve memory. So it keeps like some around 512 MB for at the starting time, it utilizes in the heap memory. So that memory Spark itself is going to be it. Then what it is going to remain for your Spark application? Nothing, right? Then your application will be out with out of memory exception. So that memory is going to be reserved. And the same method is work for all of the executors and cores. So first we should calculate what data I am going to submit on the executor. Let's say it is 10 GB. Then we can calculate if my cluster what HDFS I am going to be used, what is the block size of the HDFS. So let's say it is 256 MB. Then we can get a calculation how many total 256 MB will be generated. Accordingly, how many partitions will be running internally, because that's all going to be processed completely in a parallel way. So in that case, how I want to process the parallel, and now suppose if 100 partitions has been created internally and I want to process parallel, I do not want to block anyone, then better I can go for 5 executors and Suppose I am going for 20 executors and 5 cores. So 20 into 5 equal to 100. This means my all 100 partitions will be running together. And for memory wise, again, I can count how much memory is really my data is having, and after that how much buffer memory I can give. So suppose I'm saying that, okay, give 500 MB in the for the buffer memory to each executor. Even that is not required. That is required only for the driver node, not for the executor node. But at least I will keep some buffer memory. And after that, again, if you are working in the big data, then your memory and your data can never be the same. Maybe you are thinking that your data will be 10 GB, and at the runtime, what if data comes 10.5 GB? In that case, again, you are going to face the issue. Then we can what happens, we have the option for overhead memory. So suppose I am giving 10 GB memory to my executor, and I know that sometimes data can be 11 GB also, but I should never give 11 GB to my executor. Why? Because if you are going to provide the 11 GB, in that case, that memory will be blocked for your application. Either your application is using or not. And if some other team is trying to run their application and their application needs some 1 more GB, then their application will be fail unnecessarily because you have blocked the memory. So never try to block the memory. Give whatever is really required. And if you are thinking that some overhead memory can become, in that case, you can provide some overhead memory, let's say 2 GB or 4 GB. So that memory is never reserved. Whenever your application needs that, dynamically that memory will be allocated. If your application doesn't need, that will never be blocked or allocated. And again, we have option for dynamic allocation and static. So we should never allocate dynamic, because what happens, suppose you submitted 100 terabyte of data, and when you started your job on the cluster, that time none of the job is running. Then what your application will do, your application will try to find out all the available resources, and suppose that time none of the job is running, and your cluster is running with 100 nodes, then it will occupy all the 100 resources, and it will start your job, and in between other job will be started, and every other jobs are going to be filled, because unless your job will be finished, they are not going to free up the resource. So we should always avoid dynamic allocation, because that's not a good practice. So that's how we should think, and we should design, and then we can take the decision what I should do or what I should not do.
Yeah, got it, Anamika. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, then we were discussing about the Hadoop part. So it's the same as Ankush explained, like it's working in a distributed processing system, and we can process any kind of data. We can integrate it with any kind of tools and technologies with the latest one. Like, let's say if you are working with NoSQL and you are using HBase, but again we have the option that you can neglect the HBase, you can go for MongoDB, you can go for Cosmos DB, you can go for Cassandra, you can go for Vertica. Multiple options are available. It's completely upon you what you want to choose, and in which tools you are comfortable, you can go with that. So this provides so much flexibility which we can utilize, and we can complete our data computation, and we can produce the output. So that's why we are using this. And if we are talking about Hadoop things, then we have HDFS, and which we are using to process the data. In Hadoop Common, we have multiple utilities, we have multiple tools which we are using, and we have Hadoop Yarn. So Yarn is nothing but cluster resource management, we can say, because whenever you are trying to submit your job is going to be managed by Yarn, because almost companies are using Yarn, and your job will be process, manage, your complete application will be managed end to end by the Yarn. And for processing part, we have MapReduce, we have Spark, we have Tej. So accordingly, as per our need, we can go for that. We can opt any. And for the job titles, already we have discussed. We can go for any of the admin, database tester, big data tester, big data developer, big data engineer, architect, machine learning engineer, data scientist, big data consultant. So it's completely upon us which field we are more comfortable, which we want to choose, and where I can put my more effort, because I have seen that people have switched in the development side and in application development who were completely non-programmer, because they were ready to give some time, they were ready to give their effort. They did some 2-3 hours in their programming practices, they give some 2-3 months and they were able to do it. So it's completely upon us. We can't say that this is a restriction and we can't do that. And then we can discuss about some tools like it can be Scoop, it can be Hive, it can be Flume. So Scoop already we discussed, like it's kind of importing and exporting the data if we're using the Hadoop. But we can, but for this also multiple alternatives available. Let's say directly also we can connect with the RDB mesh table using JDBC connection. We have Kafka connector. We have some other multiple connectivity are available. Using that, we can connect to different sources and we can pull out the data, pull and push the data. We can do that, and then we have a variety of the things. And after that, if you are talking about I believe that how many people are available aware with the SQL thing?
Yeah, no, I'm aware of SQL.
Okay. So if anyone is aware about the SQL, then they can do Hive query in I can say 3-4 days. It will not take more than 3-4 days to learning the Hive thing. And Hive, I can say that 90% of the organizations are using Hive, because that's really needed to store the data into tabular format, which they are using for some analytical purpose and for visualization. So this use SQL kind of language, which we say Hive query language, HQL, and we can say that it's never needed so much complex query. If you are seeing into database, mainly into database, then there you can see that your queries are too much complex. But here I have never seen that we are using so much complex query. It is I can say either pretty much simple or it can be average kind of thing, because majorly we go with some optimization, some joins and all, nothing else. And then we can discuss about the Spark. So already we have discussed what is Spark. Spark we use for computation, for better computation, because it provides a kind of 100 times or 90 times, whatever we can say, more faster than MapReduce. The reason is MapReduce was kind of IO operations, multiple input output operations were happening, but here it does computing by default in memory. And if we have big data sets and we are thinking that in memory it's not possible, we have option to choose disk level as well. We can choose the storage level what we need, some memory and some disk and all. And but in this Spark we have multiple categories for the learning and for working. Like we have Spark Core, Spark SQL, Spark Streaming, Spark Graphics and all. So if we are using Spark Core, so there we have multiple ready-made functions are available, which we can use without any programming knowledge or something. Simply, let's say we have somewhere filter with column, but some UDF kinds of thing, multiple things are available which can be used without any programming knowledge. And we have Spark SQL. So in Spark SQL is nothing but again it's a kind of SQL. If you know the SQL, you can go with the Spark SQL and you can do your computation. And if you are going for Spark batch or Spark streaming, then if you are going for application development, then of course we need a programming language, and we can choose either it can be R, Python, Java, Scala. So these languages are smoothly acceptable with it, and it supports very well, and we can choose any and we can go any with that. And this helps the developer for the querying, analysis the data, transforming the data, visualizing the data. So that's why we are using the Spark. And we can say that if you are learning the big data and you do not know Spark, then you are one step back. You should learn this. So this is the main part as of now in big data side. But again, Hadoop and Spark or MapReduce or Spark, everyone is having equal importance and all are important. Better we should know all, because all the companies are having their different requirement. Maybe someone is more interested into Hive, someone is more interested into Scoop or MapReduce, and someone is more interested into Spark. So we should know all the things, then we can be more comfortable. Like when we were using the Hadoop, then we were using the MapReduce, and it was too much slow, but data is growing day by day. That's why we come up with the Spark. And here we were able to process the batch data. So again, if we're going to process the batch data, still we can go with the Hadoop and it's good to go. And if we are having like real kind of data, streaming data near real time or complete real time data, we can go for Spark, because that is not possible with Hadoop. And in Hadoop, it is mostly designed in the backend side, it is designed with Java. So it needs more line of codes. And here it supports, it is designed in the Scala, and it supports another languages as well, like R and Python. So your code lines can be reduced as much as possible, because how you know the functional language, if you are too good, maybe your 10 lines of code you can do in one line, not one line, but at least in 3 lines you can do, obviously. So that is the better part. So that's are the thing why we are using the both things, because both has its own importance and own benefits. And if you are coming with this Spark, then as I said, we are using for fast processing in computing memory, and flexibility, because it provides the flexibility to choose and integrate with the different things, tools, file formats and all. And it is capable to process any kind of data, any size of data, file tolerance, because you will be it will be making sure that in any of the case we are not going to lose the data. Even our job will be getting failure or some conditions are there, something is going wrong, you will always have the backup and your job will be starting from that point. So it makes sure for that. And better analytics purpose. So all these things are frequently used by Spark. And these are all are the things which we are going to learn and cover. And along with this, what all other tools and technologies are required, that we will be covering in our session. So please let me know if you have any question.
Anamika, do you teach any cloud technologies?
Cloud technologies, we have, all of the companies are moving there. So maybe they're using AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or maybe it can be Pivotal, or maybe something else. So we can go for a small session for Azure.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Anamika.
If you have any question, queries, anything, guys, please feel free to ask the question. Okay. So we are going to start this a paid training very soon. Okay. Today was just a demo. Okay. Whatever we have explained, that we are going to see practically with each and every real-time example. I can tell you confidently that whatever we are going to teach, that will help you to crack the interview, because we have been faced a lot of interviews, and we already have a lot of idea like what type of questions are coming, what is the expectation of the market when you're going for an Hadoop development profile. Okay, so this will be I think a right opportunity for everyone to start with the big data. And I will tell you one thing, that nowadays we have less people in the market. Okay, but if you are trying it after some year or maybe some months, okay, the people, maybe like more people will be there and less job will be there. Like always, there will be a saturation in the market, right? That's happening with all the technologies. Now, this is a booming technology, and we have less resources who have the Spark level knowledge or big data level knowledge. So my suggestion will be like that. Okay. So Anamika, if you don't have, like, can we close it with the contact details, and I'll do that. Okay. Okay. If we don't have anything.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So guys, if you are interested, okay, let me share my screen. If you are interested for the training, you can reach out to me on my this number. Okay. Let me share my number over here. This is my email ID, and this is my WhatsApp number. Okay. If you are interested for the real-time Hadoop development profile, you can reach out to me here, and this is my WhatsApp number. Okay. And if you have any questions, queries, anything, we can discuss further on it. Okay, please reach out to me on this number. Okay, I'll share you the details related to the syllabus. We have already given you, but let me show you. Yes, you can call me directly. Okay, or you can also WhatsApp me on this number. Okay, or if you have any questions right now here only, you can ask me. We are ready to give you the all details. Okay, so whatever components are there which are helping you to crack the interview, we are going to cover everything. Okay, and as suggested by Anamika, we will give you some knowledge on cloud also related to this. Okay, I think if you don't have any question, okay, we can close it. Okay, we have already spent, I think, more than 1 hour. Thank you so much, Anamika, for giving this a very fruitful demo that will really helping to the people.
Yeah, thanks to everyone. Thanks, Ankush.
Thank you, guys. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
yeah, thanks Anamika, thanks Ankush, thanks everyone for joining.